Laureld Smith of Chicago, Illinois, visually based archaeological, theological, microbiological, and astronomical discovery images actually revealed the Jerusalem Temple Mount foundation stone, that octagonal building structure that has a golden dome. Well, we are told in the King James Bible that King Solomon and David were responsible for its creation. King Solomon is a black African descendant of Ham. Everybody upon the African continent is called the children of Ham. Everybody in Europe is called the children of Shem, S-H-E-M. Everybody in Asia and China is called the children of Jacob. So here we are looking at a black African continent civilization of Ham, ancient holy building structure in Jerusalem called the Jerusalem Temple Mount, Dome of the Rock. Well, before this Dome of the Rock was constructed, the Bible tells us that King David, bought this area or land called Jebus, Jebus, from the Jebusites, and then King Solomon constructed this building structure on a mountaintop. Well, when we go in the basement of the holy building structure called the Dome of the Rock, we see a huge foundation stone. Now, this foundation stone is showed up on YouTube and Google format or social media platform. Every time they show the foundation stone, they show a vertical image. Well, when I saw the foundation stone, I turned it horizontal. And wow, what did I discover? I discovered an African Adam plus face, an African man's face looking sideways. Then underneath it, I discovered a GIZA Sphinx line in the tribe of Judah face 2. Now remember, the book of Genesis 49 chapter 9 verse, scriptural text states that Judah is the lion's whelp from the prey, my son, thou art going up. He counts out as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? All thy father's children shall bow down before thee. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a scepter from between his feet until Shiloh come. Well, if you're in front of the Egyptian pyramid, you go and stand in front of the Giza Sphinx, the black man face upon the lion's body, in front of the Isaiah 1919 Giza pyramid. This is where the ceremonies of initiation into ancient Judaism occurred. But see, the Egyptians, there are several names for the black man facing on the lion's body. One is called, the original today Egyptian name is Harem Akhet, Haremakhet. Okay, but if you look at the black man's face, Queen Nefertiti, most people refer to that as the face of Khufu. So was the pyramid that this black man faces in front of, according to the Isaiah 1919 biblical Bible text. The Isaiah 1919 Giza pyramid was created to the Lord of hosts as a sign and witness. So now we're finally seeing that you can't separate the Dome of the Rock from Ethiopia, cross-shaped building structure, in Lalibela, which seems to appear. Now, if you go to Lalibela and look straight down upon the Ethiopian cross-shaped building structure, you're going to see a base. That space is like two step pyramids connected to their bases. So this is what I call the step pyramid Mercator projection, globe earth Mercator projection. This globe earth Mercator projection actually appeared upon the Jerusalem Dome of the Rock outer wall in which supports the Golden Dome. So finally, we have discovered that Ethiopia, stone cross-shaped building, was referred to as New Jerusalem. But this stone cross-shaped building fits into the globe earth step pyramid Mercator projection. Now, once more, since this altar to the Lord, according to Isaiah 1919, Giza pyramids, and the stone and pillar to border thereof. So what witness unto the alien creators of man that was landed on Mount Sinai and Ezekiel's glowing wilderness will like your foes? What is this pyramid telling us? Well, we got to listen to Khufu, or the fourth son of Jacob. You say, wait a minute. So you mean tell me this fourth son of Jacob is in front of the pyramid as the couching Giza Sphinx lion in the tribe of Judah? That's right. But there's a historical line that shows him to be Khufu, the son of Queen Hatteferes, and Pharaoh Sneferu. Now, Pharaoh Sneferu started the first step pyramids in the earliest Egyptian civilization, like the step pyramid of Saqqara, Doja, the Riyadh pyramid of Dasher. But who was the oldest African in the King James Bible? Okay, we got to go back to the book of Genesis, 1:26, which speaks of the first sons of God walking the earth with the alien creators of man, or the wilderness will like UFO Elohim that landed on Mount Sinai. So you say, well, wait a minute. You talking about Genesis 1:26 is the oldest African. Yeah, they had elongated heads. If you go back in time and look at Queen Nefertiti and Pharaoh Akhenaten, they all had elongated heads. But if you come to our modern time era, you go to Egypt, you don't see no black man with a long watermelon shaped head. They passed out of our solar system. Okay, so who was walking with the alien that created man? Or who did these aliens create in their own image? It was Genesis 1:26. Elongated headed African dominant race. This makes the elongated headed African continent civilization from him the oldest Africans upon the African continent. Now, when we move to Genesis 2:7, we see normal shaped headed human beings, Adam and Eve, being created. But they were created out in the book of Joshua. It says the sun appeared to stand still in the outer space area of heaven and appeared to not go down for about a whole day in the regions of heaven. Today we look up, we see the sun shining 93 million miles away across the black outer region of space. So therefore, this sun in space, so African Adam was created in an area in outer space. Now, if we look at the pyramid testimony, we got to go back to the first cities in the King James Bible of black African step pyramid civilization from Ham is Babylon, Samaria. Okay, so who started the Egyptian civilization? It was the step pyramid kingdoms of Babylon. Now, this is where we find the oldest 6-point star in the King James Bible. And this is news to many archaeologists and Christian ministers. You say, why? Because the oldest 6-point star in the King James Bible is surrounded, it has a central sun found in Babylon. And there's 12 circles surrounding the 6-point star representing planets within our solar system. So Zachariah Sitchin was a Jewish archaeologist who actually made a book and a movie about the 12th planet Nibiru entering our solar system and colliding with Earth. Now, the ancient Earth name was Tiamat, but this big planet that had a different trajectory around our sun as the original 9 planets of our solar system. So now, when we look at this ancient Babylonian stone 6-point star that had a central sun, that central sun represents 1 John 1:1, biblical light that creates the world and our solar system. Okay, but it also says this same hydrogen-like plasma that creates fuses with optical orange for the entire world community is the biblical light that allows every man to come into the world. So that means that we can look at the human cell with an electron microscope and see a chemical circle cell with black dot in the center of the cell nucleus, where we try to identify the holy hydrogen light of creation that allows every man to come to the world. The only circle rotating around a human cell we can see clearly in microbiology 101 is this hydrogen-like plasma circle. It's in rotation. So this is the biblical light that creates the world. But this biblical light outranks all the false European man-based Lord God world religion characters. Make a note of that. Because if we take any of the Old Testament prophets and put them in a big room and take a cell sample from them, we're going to see the same chemical circular cell with a black dot in the center of the cell nucleus. Where's the hydrogen light of God? Where we're going to see it in rotation on all the chemical circular cells. Even Jesus. We can go so far to take the biblical old man image of Jehovah. This white man with a robe and a long beard. You take a cell sample from him, you can see the same chemical circular cell, same black dot in the center of the cell nucleus. We're going to see this rotating circle hydrogen light plasma as the biblical light that allows every man to come to the world. So all of the human beings, biological body, cells that we see in microbiology 101 has this circular rotating holy hydrogen light creation plasma. So this is why I say the biblical light that created the world was the first solar theology of the ancient African Step Pyramid Kingdom. Since Babylon started the civilization of Ham, now we have the first Step Pyramids of Babylon appeared in the earliest Egyptian kingdom. Step Pyramid of Doja, Saqqara. Now when it comes to the Step Pyramid of Sneferu, this is where all hell breaks loose. Why? Because Sneferu was Khufu's father, and Khufu's mother was Queen Hatshepsut. So if we go and look at the three Egyptian pyramids, in which the book of Genesis, 49 chapter 9 verse, couching Jesus, Sphinx lion in the tribe of Judah is couched down in front of as a lion. He's in front of the pyramid of Khufu. So this automatically means that the GIZA Sphinx of ancient Judaism is connected to ancient Egypt pyramid of Khufu. So when we look at this pyramid of Khufu, we got to first go into it, the Grand Gallery. And we're walking up to this Grand Gallery, we're going to see 26, we're going to see 7 walls layers emerging, going up, 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 up. But if you stack 5 blocks on top of on the left and right side, that they form a step that you walk upon. This is a step pyramid wall design. I refer to it as the globe earth step pyramid Mercator projection. And so, the Grand Gallery of the pyramid or altar to God or the creators of man as this globe earth step pyramid Mercator projection. So when we go back to the Jerusalem Temple Mount, in Jerusalem, the octagonal building that has a golden dome, the wall that supports the golden dome also has step pyramid Mercator projection. You say, oh, okay, so what is a step pyramid Mercator projection? Well, that's like stacking 5 blocks on top of one another on the left and right side that they form a step that you walk upon. So that's the image of one step pyramid. But if you connect 2 step pyramids at their bases, you get the dome of the rock, outer wall that supports the golden dome, globe earth step pyramid Mercator projection. See why is this so important? Because the first astronomers was Babylonians, Sumerians, of the African continent civilization of Ham. So here we have Jerusalem, dome of the rock, outer wall, representing this first ancient astronomical geometry in the form of a globe earth step pyramid Mercator projection. But when we go to the cross-shaped building in Lalibela, remember, the ancient Sumerians, the Babylonians, had this cross image of Nibiru. You say, oh, yeah, oh, right. But they also have ancient stone plaques of Nibiru. Now, Nibiru, this 12th planet that entered our solar system, is supposed to be the kingdom of heaven. We're getting close, yeah, because the first black civilizations in Babylon had a stone 6-point star that had the central sun surrounded by 12 planets. But if we go to Ethiopia today, you see a stone cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela. When we walk in there and look up, we're going to see a 6-point star with a cube. You say, yeah. So now let's define the mystery of the cube within the 6-point star. Because if it originally started out with a sun, ancient Babylonian stone 6-point star has a sun. So when did the cube, a New Jerusalem, or the cube structure in Ethiopia, stone cross-shaped building structure in Lalibela, Sicily, enter the sun? So now we look at the modern National Space Administration satellite imagery of a cube orbiting around our sun. It's a black, huge cube structure. So when I talk about the cube structure of New Jerusalem entering our solar system, this is ancient Babylonian stone step pyramid kingdoms. Globe earth step pyramid Mercator projection, which the dome of the rock out of the wall that supports the golden dome is talking about, geometrically. But when we put the stone Ethiopian cross-shaped building structure within the dome of the rock, step pyramid Mercator projection image on this roof, supporting the golden dome, we see the connection that the black African descendants of Ham had this ancient solar theology of the sun. Now, the Christian Bible later picked it up as the biblical light that creates the world. But now we see that it started in ancient Samaria and Babylon. Solar theology of the GIZA, Sphinx lion, the tribe of Judah. So remember, the Jerusalem, Ezra 1:3 says, let us go up to Jerusalem, which is located in the land of Judah. It doesn't say, let us go to Jerusalem, which is located in the far European state of Israel. He said, so what's the mystery? The mystery is in the 16th century, King James appointed 72 Greek and Hebrew scholars to write the 66 books in King James Bible. So they used the false narrative of Jacob wrestling with the angel, and the angel changed his name into Israel. So this is where Jacob changed the name, the angel changed the name of Jacob to Israel. But I'm showing you original ancient Egyptian footage that shows Egypt, and the Egyptian, it's a wall painting showing a black Egyptian whooping a black skinned Hebrew. So you say, okay, so that wall painting is the key. Yeah, because if we have black skinned Hebrews descended from Jacob, and Jacob's fourth son is couched down as a couching lion, thinks of the tribe of Judah, instead of the Isaiah 19:19 Giza pyramid. Well, this is a whole new ball game. Now we see that Judah, according to the book of Genesis, I think it's 46th chapter, where Judah was sent into ancient Egypt before Joseph. You say, what? Yeah, because Christians only remember Joseph ruling ancient Egypt, so with the coat of many colors. But the book of Genesis, 46th chapter, says Judah was in ancient Egypt before his 11 brothers, Hebrew brothers. So then you say, well, where was he? In the Egyptian land of Goshen. So the Bible tells us Judah, and who cast out as a lion, ruled the Egyptian land of Goshen for 400 years. So where did the Israelites enter? As Jacob sent Judah before his 11 Hebrew black descendants or sons. Well, it says they entered the Egyptian land of Goshen. Where did they exit from? This is what in this translated 400-year-old King James Bible make the greatest theological error of our time. So we read the Bible that Israel exited out of ancient Egypt from the land of Ramesses. So why would they do that? Why would they use this three-card word Mali false word trick in the King James Bible? Because they wanted to conceal the African continent descendants of Ham, whose black man's face on the lion's body is in front of the Isaiah 19:19 Giza pyramid, which is Genesis 49 chapter 9 verse, couching Ethiopian lion thinks of the tribe of Judah. So who ruled all of Jacob's 11 sons in ancient Egypt for 400 years? It was the Giza Sphinx lion of Judah. So who chased the 12 Israeli tribes out of ancient Egypt during the Exodus? That's a no-no. You can put a big X in front of that. Erase that. You say, why? That's another false European man-made Lord God world religion narrative. So they tried to say a Pharaoh chased 11 European faith Israeli tribes out of ancient Egypt during the Exodus. But that's not true. Since the wall painting of an ancient Egyptian black skin with a rod in his hand whooping a black skinned Hebrew shows us that the black skinned Hebrews is who the Lion of Judah ruled over for 400 years. So this changes the ball game. Why? Because the Bible tells us that the Lion of Judah was a general, an army military general in the elongated Pharaoh Akhenaten army, royal army. You say, oh, yeah, oh. So he had authority to lead the black Hebrews out of Egypt towards Mount Sinai. And this Mount Sinai is where UFOs come in at. Why? Because the same elongated UFO will like aliens that were landed upon Mount Sinai, they created the book of Genesis 1:26, first elongated astronomical race in their own image and likeness. You say, so what does that mean? Well, that means that these UFO beings, they're about 4 feet tall, big black eyes. They have no penis vagina between their legs. They have smooth skin there where a woman's vagina would be. So you can't call the alien that created a man a he, but Christianity makes this mistake of calling God a he. Now this he, you can erase it because these aliens in the world like UFOs landed upon Mount Sinai had no penis or vagina. In fact, they had smooth skin between their legs where a woman's vagina would be. And so when we talk about the first elongated Africans, the oldest Africans that populated Samaria and Babylon, we're not talking about Genesis 2:7, normal shaped African Adam and Eve. You say, oh, it's right. Now remember, Genesis 49 chapter, 9th verse, normal shape-headed counting GIZA thing. So he's telling you the story of the woolly like UFO aliens through the pyramid and through the Queen's Chamber Grand Gallery. So this is why the pyramid was the altar to the alien creators of man in the Old Testament glowing woolly like UFO. But this biological witness in front of the pyramid is the GIZA Sphinx lion of the tribe of Judah. And this is what the false racism within Europe tried to conceal by using Jacob Rassenwood, the angel name of Israel. Israel and ancient Egypt. So no, don't even focus on Israel and ancient Egypt. Because throughout the Bible, you see that name Israel. Okay? Which is, it stumbled you up. If you were Afro-American, reading the English Bible, a white Jesus, white Jehovah, white Adam and Eve, this is all incorrect theological teachings in the King James Bible. Laureld Smith of Chicago, Illinois, visually based archaeological and theological discoveries. In which I would like to share with you. 30 million years ago, the Eastern African continent coastline, A, was not separated from the V-shaped piece of land, B. If you cross the Euphrates River, you will see this is where Iraq, Jerusalem, Judea is located, and Gaza. So this East African continent coastline tells us that 30 million years ago, before the flood of Noah or the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh, there was this African Hamitic black descendants of the GIZA Sphinx line in the tribe of Judah. This GIZA Sphinx of the book of Genesis 49 chapter 9 verse counts down as a lion and as an old lion. It says, who shall rouse them up? Well, after finding a GIZA Sphinx two-face upon Jerusalem's foundation stone, since the foundation stone existed before the Dome of the Rock, the octagon building structure was constructed around it. Therefore, the GIZA Sphinx line of Judah that was denied in a theological-based form of racism by King James appointed 72 Greek and Hebrew scholars in the 16th century. Now we see the Dome of the Rock foundation stone carved evidence of a black man facing one of the royal Egyptian Hydra. So this Jerusalem and Babylon is located within the East African continent coastline. So this is where the African continent civilization of Ham populated the Judean Delta, Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip. But if you go back to the Exodus, remember, what was kind of hidden in the King James Bible was that the GIZA Sphinx, lion of the tribe of Judah, who cast out as a lion, he actually ruled the land of Goshen, Goshen, for 400 years. Right up until the Exodus. Now, what the Bible scholars and European King James Bible writers got wrong was that they tell us that Joseph ruled over the 11 sons of Jacob. Keep in mind, I say 11 sons of Jacob because before the Europeans wrote in King James Bible, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. So instead of saying when Israel left Egypt to the Exodus, we should say when the 11 sons of Jacob. But the fourth son of Jacob is in Egypt for 400 years as the GIZA Sphinx line of the tribe of Judah, Genesis 49:9, who ruled over the biblical Egyptian land of Goshen for 400 years. So the Exodus in this theological based form of racism we uncover in the King James Bible, they tell us that Israel exited out from the land of Ramesses across the Euphrates River, heading towards the Promised Land. But if you cross Eastern Africa, GIZA area, GIZA SPHINX pyramid area, you're going to cross the Euphrates River, the Red Sea and the Euphrates River. Now, going east, you're going to see this V-shaped piece of land. Therefore, the only thing opposite of the GIZA SPHINX of the King James Bible in front of the Egyptian pyramids land is this V-shaped piece of land. Well, at the top of it, we see Jerusalem and Judea. Now, Ezra 1:3 says, "Let us go up to Jerusalem, which is located in the land of Judah, and build the house of the Lord God." This will be the Dome of the Rock. But this is why we find in the basement of the Dome of the Rock an ancient foundation stone that has a GIZA SPHINX face carved in stone and a 6-point star with a sun. So, this great archaeological and geological discovery of laureld Smith of Chicago, Illinois, uncovers the GIZA SPHINX face upon Jerusalem foundation stone, which existed before the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem was ever constructed that we read in the King James Bible. So since we discovered that Jerusalem is located in the V-shaped piece of land, East African continent, I put a big red A there. But when you see the V-shaped piece of land on the V-shaped piece of land, B and V, then you see, 30 million years ago, that was all in the East African continent coastline. Okay, so this is way before the flood of Noah, because it was the separation of the continent caused by a big moon, or a planetary body. Today, you go out to stand on the beach, the evening and morning tides, the water come in and go out. It's caused by the rotation of the earth and the moon's pull on the waters of the earth. So the oldest story that the Noah's flood was copied from would be the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's Black African, Sumerian, and Babylonian Tower of Babel story. Now remember, the King James Bible got most of his stories from ancient Egypt. Moses married an Egyptian woman, an Ethiopian woman. Okay, so you said, wait a minute, King Solomon black? So what you're telling us is that finding a black African continent, line of Judah, GIZA SPHINX 2 face on the Jerusalem foundation stone, tells us that the holy people of the King James Bible text was the children of Judah.